Good afternoon. I'm Richard Lonsdale, Chairman of the Elm Planning Commission. I call the meeting to order. Today's Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. The time is 4 p.m. Staff, please take roll call.
Commissioner Richard Lonsdale.
Here.
Commissioner Bob Howard.
Here.
Commissioner John Graver.
Here.
Commissioner Dana Allen. Here. Commissioner Ann Warman. Here. Commissioner Robert Bailey.
Here.
And Commissioner Christopher Lay is excused.
Hey, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, has everybody had an opportunity to read the attached minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a move. Approve the minutes, last meeting.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any say nay. Okay, has everybody had the opportunity to read the agenda? And if so, are there any conflicts of interest present between any commissioner and an agenda item? Okay, there's no conflicts. Staff, are there any staff communications?
Couple things. Good afternoon, Commission. In your packet, I did send along, I think it was in the packet, if not before, the recommendations or potential measures the Planning Commission could take. Just sort of, provide better training or get updates, etc. So you've seen those. It's about 2 pages. It's unlikely we're going to do every single one of those, or we spend all year just doing those things. But couple things that I have been kind of working on, because I got the strong impression that the Planning Commission definitely would like to come up with maybe an annual joint meeting with the City Council. And at that joint meeting, perhaps establish the work plan for the upcoming year based on the things that the council, because basically it's the council who assigns the work. I've talked to the city administrator about that. It's just a discussion in progress at the moment. Getting things like that on the calendar can take a little while, but I had just assumed that that is something the Planning Commission would like to see happen. So I'm trying to get that going. Another thing, Cody is talking to Rural Transit to see about renting a bus for a day. So we can do the famous Cody Colt tour of Yelm. That would include, all kinds of things, like the wastewater treatment plant upgrade, going and looking at all the different proposals that we currently have underway on Tahoma Boulevard and various other subdivisions, things like that around town. So it's usually a couple hour tour, depending on how much he wants to put into it. We always climb the water tower over the Tahoma Terra, so you can get a nice look out over the city. But beyond that, if there are certain items in this particular list that you think are kind of your favorites, feel free to email me and I'll see if we have any, any of them stick out that a majority of the commission would like us to focus on. So we'll try to do that.
I'm a little bit confused. Which list?
I sent it, I thought in the packet, it's the list.
So it was about a week ago.
Oh, was it?
That you sent it, because that was the one that I responded to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like a week ago or.
I get too much mail. Sorry.
I have an extra one right here if you want. Yeah, this was what the consultant followed up with from the retreat.
Oh, that consultant list. Yes, yes, I did get that. I didn't realize that was the list.
So beyond that, in your packet and for discussion at our next meeting was the environmental protection and critical areas chapter of the comp plan. That's the last chapter. You will have seen them all. So I'm hoping by next month, we will not only be able to talk about that chapter if necessary, any comments you may have, but also come back to you with a complete document. And then we'll take our next little round of going through that to see if there are any additional comments that the planning commission has on the draft as a whole. Still, trying to sort out when we'll have a public workshop / open house. I'm thinking it's likely November. And that's all I have for right now.
What would the goal of that workshop be?
Well, some of it's just public outreach, opportunity if the public does want to come in and interact with the commission, ask questions.
But the comp plan will be done by then.
I'm sorry?
The comp plan, it's not, is it for the comp
It
plan?
will be finalized. I mean, we have a proposed final draft, but it won't be finalized. It's still open to public comment and potential to be edited and changed all the way up until it gets adopted by council. Yeah.
So speaking of public comment period, I know that online, you guys were soliciting public comments online. Have we seen any response to that yet?
Not as of yet. I still have a request in with our communications folks to publicize the availability of the comp plan on our Facebook page.
Okay.
And I expect that will be posted any day. I made the request about 10 days ago. But I think once we do that, we're likely to see more interaction. It seems like that's the way we get most of our involvement these days is through social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a point of note, and I've mentioned this before, regarding the annual joint meeting with the city council, is that previously there has been a number of the members of city council that has also thought that having a joint meeting with the planning commission would be a good idea. So it's been on their side as well that they're for it, so.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, I have been talking to the city administrator about it and trying to get it on their radar, so.
Yeah.
See about getting it set up. And I think if we do get it set up, we should make it so that it's an annual thing on a certain, month each year. Usually the first of the year is probably the best because then you set your annual work plan.
You mentioned what,
Yeah, go on.
Dana has been doing most of the work on looking at the procedures.
Mhm.
And I've been reviewing that as well, but what we found is that there's one document. And I don't know that,
The mayor and city council protocol manual, which they just did an update August, I believe. And the last appendix, it used to be 13, now it's 5. It's advisory boards
and committees.
and committees, protocol, rules and protocol, like something like that. And in there, it has a lot of requirements that we just were never aware of. Like, we have to submit a plan, our work plan, proposed work plan to the council by March 31st, which I've been on the board since during March, and I've never seen that. Maybe you're alluding to one done by the end of the year, but either way, I haven't seen it.
It's very consistent with what we're proposing, is to meet with them to make sure that our work plan meets their requirements.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll confess, I was not aware of that in their manual.
Right.
I did ask Cody about the annual meetings, had they been taking place before I started, and he said as long as he was council member, they never did it.
Oh.
So I don't know how long that has been kind of dormant in there, but yeah, I will look that up and see what we need to do.
Yeah, I think this document was first started in 2021 and then has been updated since. And so I'm not familiar with it either, even though having decade
Yeah.
or with the planning commission. But there was a lot in there that is similar to what we're proposing
Okay.
Yeah,
and some that's not.
And I don't want to be in conflict with it, and that's why.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can take a look at it. If that is the established sort of calendar for doing that, I'll talk to Todd Stansel, our administrator, and see that we get that back on track.
I had emailed Kathy about it. She provided the document, but maybe it's actually a city administrator's role to provide guidance on the protocol. But yeah, and then at the very end is a kind of a sheet that all the board members are supposed to sign, acknowledging that they've read this. I've never received that, so
I did not know of its existence.
I don't know if the city can.
Because it was the council protocol manual. I mean, that we've got our own planning commission stuff, so I didn't know that was buried in there.
Good thing it's being addressed.
Yeah, right.
We're
Yeah, no, it's
we're
good.
getting through the various pieces and components.
We'll get there.
We're gonna get there.
Okay,
Um,
great.
sorry, back to the John Doe suggestions.
Uh-huh.
I noticed design guidelines. was not on.
You might mention that one.
You got is that just a Dana Allen thing, or is
No, I
is
think we
that?
need it. We need a vision plan.
I mean, I personally think it's a good idea. You know, it's something that we need to see whether the council thinks is a good idea as far as
Of
putting
course.
on work plan. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, we do have some design guidelines
Right.
now, but
It's an update.
they're a little loosey-goosey and old. So
Yes,
And look old.
yeah.
I'm
They
older.
Yeah,
came about
I think we still have to build everything to 1972 architectural standards.
1996 is when those original design guidelines were
And-
done.
If that's the case, they might not even be legal anymore because everything's has to be so objective now,
Mhm.
so it would be good to take another look at that.
I mean, I like the idea of, at least the way he proposed it, of maybe having some other jurisdictions come in and discuss how they implement their design guidelines, how their process works.
Is that on there?
Yeah.
I don't remember actually seeing the term design guidelines.
Design guidelines was not
Maybe it was design review,
design.
which I'm okay giving up if that's, yeah, okay, so he talked about design review.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I associate those two, because I mean, the design review falls out of the guidelines. Typically, it's part of the process that you use to evaluate applications.
Oh,
But we need to update them.
Yeah.
So
No, gotcha.
the actual person in charge of the design review is the hearing examiner typically.
Well, it depends, like I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but like, for example, City of Olympia has a design review
Right.
committee that you have to go through. So, I mean, you pretty much have to go through that channel before it goes there. And in reality, they're the ones probably really doing the approval because they send their recommendation. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I support the idea of trying to do that.
With guidelines and then we can.
Could be a big project, but
could we get it on the list?
I don't see why not. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're probably not gonna put every one of these on there, but there are some that have been rising to the top. That's one of them, so. Yeah.
And then on the public comments for the comp plan, when Andrew was showing where on the website the public could go make the comment, I didn't even know there was these tiny little arrows on the home
know.
page. I didn't even know those were there until Andrew.
Scroll to get to it.
So I mean, I don't know, it's probably an IT thing, but I wonder if it's worth having it either automatically scroll, make the arrow bigger, something a little
No,
friendly.
that's an issue. I realize that too, and so that would be part. I don't know if I can fix it on the website, but on our Facebook post, when we announce the availability, we want to make it clear that they need to go down there and scroll on that bar. So
Yeah, at that point, you provide the link to the actual website. It's not worth having them scroll. I don't think it's worth at that point. But yeah, if in 10 days they haven't responded to you, I think they need a little nudge because they're usually
I
really.
was talking to Cody about it today.
I didn't understand what you said.
Well, I said I was talking to Cody about that today. He said he would talk to them.
Okay.
That's all I have for communications.
Any other comments? Okay. Hey, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the commission? Okay, moving on. Staff, is there any unfinished business from the last meeting?
Well, as I said last time, it's always unfinished, but but I just put it under new business, so.
Okay. All right, staff, is there any new business?
Yes, there is. So we have Ryan here again this month. Just to sort of update you on the comments that we've received on the transportation element and kind of what we're gonna do next. Okay, Ryan.
Hello. All right, so thanks for those who did provide comment, and I'm sure everybody read through it. Concurrent to your review, the city staff were also reviewing the more technical, bigger documents. So we've kind of been getting comments from this group and then from city staff. I say, you know, Rob, you had a comment about the high school and the chaos maybe that occasionally happens there during, I mean, really any school, AM, PM pickup, it's like every school struggles with that. So one thing I want, so we can, like you said, we're not really at a point where we're gonna analyze that now differently, but a couple of things I wanted to say about that. The forecast does assume growth for the high school. So to a degree, we're accounting for that there'll be more traffic at the high school in the future, and that's in the volumes. And then as I discussed last month, we're leaving unfinished a few intersections along Yelm Avenue so that we can wait for the loop to be complete, and then we're gonna reevaluate. And I think Mountain View is certainly one of those intersections that's gonna be reevaluated when the loop is completed. And I think at that time, we can also be considering the importance of a safe school access on Yelm Avenue. I know there's also the access to Tahoma Boulevard, and there could be concerns at both ends, and that might even be something we could include at that follow-up point, because it's obviously related, just generally access to the high school, making sure that that's safe and sufficient. So that's something that can come up.
I was.
The one at Tahoma.
At Tahoma, you know,
Yeah.
you've got all the new development.
yeah.
going out there, you know, and there's, I'm assuming that's not the end of it, you know, so.
I think eventually that road's gonna connect all the way down to 507, and there'll be a lot of growth there. And that road that is currently fairly low volume is gonna be high volume, and seeing, long-term what needs to be there on either end of the high school. So that's something that, you know, loud and clear, I think that's a good comment and something to bear in mind as we do that next wave of analysis, certainly. And then, Ann, you had a lot of comments, kind of what you brought up in our discussion, you know, concerns about how those bike head graphics looked and some concerns about access, especially in the east. I honestly, I think that idea of having a trail from Bridge Road up to the Prairie Trail makes a lot of sense to serve that eastern portion. So I'm gonna work with Gary in the next couple of days as we kind of finalize how we incorporate comments, but I anticipate that we'll probably add that as a long-term bike trail project through that graphic of projects, so that we're kind of meeting that area of town's needs for access to the trails. And then incorporating, as you'd mentioned in our meeting, like maybe showing access points or trailheads, not just implying that the whole trail is accessible. So those are some updates that we're pursuing. And then on the city side, Pat provided a lot of good technical comments on the existing conditions, and we're going to be meeting later this week to really kind of confirm and finalize functional classification of the city. There was some friction on what we were showing and what we understood, and then we're kind of realizing we should probably just reconsider it as a whole. So we're going to have that discussion this week, and then just confirming kind of where the truck routes are. There's a couple inconsistencies there in what we were showing from what we understood. So we're going to clean that up, and then honestly, that'll really get us to a full draft of the plan. So we're probably a week or so away from having a second, you know, a final draft of it that would then go out to TRPC and for additional review, or as part of the whole plan. I guess you guys get to read the whole novel in one go. But I think that's.
Did that include your ADTs and your train movements? And
the
percentage of truck traffic and all that as well, or?
in terms of what Pat was reviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pat reviewed the broader technical, the full technical file that had the volume data, and we didn't really get too far into like truck percentage across the day, but certainly we were talking about truck routes, and we do have truck volume data for the peak hours. We don't explicitly talk about it, but it's in there. And that's part of, I think, what we're gonna try to revisit and come to consensus on later this week when we meet with him. Just making sure that we're tight on where they are now and that those are still the right places to have the freight routes.
Can I chime in a little bit?
Yeah.
So SCJ did an existing conditions memo that I want to say it was 70 some pages. It's full of a lot of technical information about our traffic. And we kind of concluded that it was actually more detail than we needed for the transportation chapter of the comp plan, but that it was great detail for us to update our transportation plan. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone here. So we're gonna use that to come up with a better transportation plan. We have one that's a few years old, but it's got several little errors in it. So this is just a good opportunity to clean that whole thing up.
Is that available online on the city
I
website?
believe so. I'll direct you to it. I'll send you a link, send you all a link. I think it's under trying to remember which tab you get in there, and I can't remember if it's under engineering or if it's under planning, but I mean, I always have to fish around till I find it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
So I think that's kind of the update I had. It was, we got some comments. We've mostly worked through past comments. We're gonna put a ribbon on the last couple with a face-to-face later this week. And then incorporating the comments we heard from this group, and then we'll just keep the plan going.
I don't know if this is a Gary question or you question, but there's proposed, well, the comp plan is just for city limits. Correct.
yes.
And so I'm guessing this applies mainly just to city limits, but we are annexing or proposed annex soon, right? Like within a year, potentially, the little pockets.
Yeah, I mean, we're working with the county right now on that. I mean, our goal has always been to try to get it done by the end of the year. But
Oh, this year.
yeah, but we're working on an uncertain timeline because the county has to hold a hearing and we have to hold a hearing, and I have no control over the county's schedule. So I do feel like we're getting closer. We're doing this via an interlocal agreement process, and the interlocal agreement itself is pretty much done. So that's a big step. I can't remember, Ryan, if you look in our future land use map, in the land use chapter, I have already assumed the annexation on that map and
Oh.
that's a risk because if it doesn't go through, we got to go back and amend it.
Yeah.
But I figured just for the purposes of our plan and what we think is going to be happening in a few months, that we go ahead and assume that annexed area. And then as far as traffic goes,
Yeah, that's-
I don't think you can really, I mean, you tell me, but I don't think you can really stop your analysis at the city limits for traffic.
Okay, that's kind of like.
Yeah, I would,
Okay.
that's right. I mean, we're using the travel demand model that TRPC maintains, and it includes all of the county and large portions of Pierce County, and they've got land use growth assumptions for the area being annexed. It's kind of inherently part of the analysis we did. What we didn't do, and I don't even know if there's a logical intersection or roadway to have added, but we didn't try to consider new roads to include in our analysis study area that might be added with that annexation. But my understanding of it is it's not really that sort of annexation. It's kind of just rounding the shape and it's pockets of land. And I think the core infrastructure is probably what we already included in the analysis.
Yeah, I think we're taking in about 4 miles of road for this annexation, so. It's 1,200 acres and it'll increase the city by 33% in terms of land area.
Do you know what population that is? by chance?
Yeah, I need to, I mean, I can rough that out. And
Curious.
it's 312 parcels. They're not all in separate ownership, but I can go through and figure out which ones are occupied with single family residents and multiply it by 2.4 and we're gonna be right on the money. So, anything else for Ryan?
Everybody good?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ryan, appreciate it.
Okay, so is there gonna be the introduction on the environmental?
Yeah, I mean, I guess introduction, I mean, I just sent you the chapter.
Right.
I think it's, as it stands, it's a pretty good chapter. the only update that we provided so far, and this is kind of in response to your suggestion at the last meeting, and so we're gonna add 2 new maps that show wetlands, floodplains, streams, and oak habitats. Those are our 4 primary critical areas in the city. Yelm's pretty lucky. We don't have steep slopes. We don't have shorelines of the state. And we decided not to include gopher soils because that's pretty much the entire city. As is the critical aquifer recharge area. The entire city of Yelm is a critical aquifer recharge area, so we didn't feel it'd be useful to just include a map of the city. But that will be in there just for general reference for folks.
All right, so there's no public hearings, so moving on. Are there any subcommittee reports?
Well, I can tell you that in parks, the current project to go take the trail across the Nisqually Bridge is in process and is due to complete in September. So, I haven't gotten out there today to see how things are going, but I've been told that all of the panels, it's the prefab concrete panels that'll be set down across the rails, all the way across the bridge. Plus a lot of security rails on the side that you can see through, that you can't jump through. And also there's some part of the overlook portion is some large placards, and they're still working on that. So that may open the portion where you can get across without having the placards actually up as yet. But that's okay. It always takes a little bit longer because it includes involving the tribe, it includes the River Council, many other people to be able to contribute to that, because it's talking about the river itself. So anyway, there will be an opening day. I have asked Cody when, he says, we gotta finish it first. And then we'll have an opening day. So I anticipated it's gonna be on October, early November timeframe. But that's the main thing that's going on. The other thing that's going on is where the Parks Board is updating our detail plan. That is, what we have in the comp plan is more of the policies, the goals, the strategies that we would live by over the next 10 to 20 years. And what we do in the detail plan is talk about what parks are needed, where they're needed, what's proposed, what it would potentially, what we'd look for in terms of grants, the amount of money that'd be required. And that document, we're anticipating being able to have a draft by next spring. And then just like we do with the comp plan, the parks draft master plan for 2026 will be reviewed by all of the public that we can draw in. And I know from having done the 2017 one, we did 2 major events or attended major events over a full weekend to gather anybody and everybody that could walk through to be able to provide their comments and an update, because that's where the population really sees what happens with the city. I know they see it with the streets and the roads and such, but the parks are one of the main parts that they come together with. So that's sort of the timing. We wouldn't anticipate having a final version of that until sometime later in 2026.
Great, thank you. Just out of curiosity, about how far is the river crossing from the parking area? would you say?
I like to say it's 2 miles, but it was 1.5 miles from, 1.5 miles from the Centralia Power Canal to the river, and another 1.5 miles getting back into town. So I'd say it's probably a 3 mile all the way down there if you're going from the parking area.
Okay.
I do need to get on use my watch as an odometer to go the full distance and actually pay attention to how long does it take. But I've recorded it as a 3 mile ride before, so I think that it is. And of course, across the river, that's just another 100 yards or so, but it's currently not
Right,
accessible safely.
thank you.
I'm not familiar with Yelms Trail as much as the Chehalis Trail, but the Chehalis Trail has mile markers on it.
Yes, we do have mile markers. It makes it easier for me if I look at them. But it also, what's really nice about the Apple Watch and Google is it actually measures exactly how far you go. So I can answer that question better in about a month
Okay.
when I've gotten out again.
All right, thank you. Okay, are there any other subcommittees or?
Could add on, or I can add on to, I'm not sure what our official title is. I think it was bylaws and something, but I'm actually gonna propose not doing bylaws and just being rules and procedure updates. I was looking at what other jurisdictions do, so Tumwater, Olympia, Lacey, and Thurston County Planning Commissions I looked at. The only one that references bylaws is Thurston County, but then on their website, it just links to the rules of procedure, so they don't really have bylaws. I think our authority was established a long time ago, so at that point, it's a little, it's just
Yeah,
kind
well,
of odd to create.
That was a suggestion by Councilman Johnson when,
Yeah, that's done, yeah.
so,
But yeah, I think solid rules of procedure, and then we have that document, we have the conduct of business document. I looked at those same 4 jurisdictions. None of them have a separate conduct of business document, so it's all kind of incorporated into one, which obviously makes it a longer document. And then there's also that the planning staff, one that you pointed out, that document. So I think if there seems to be errors with that or inconsistencies, so getting rid of that document and anything relevant and appropriate should be in the rules of procedure. And then, to talk about the protocol manual, just kind of getting everything all aligned. And then
We were thinking of the possibility. I don't know that we will be ready because of course Dana's been doing all of the work and then I've been reviewing it as fast as I could get back to it. There's a lot of good work that's been done out there that would be valuable to the full commission to review. And I think that it might be helpful, possibly at our October meeting, to be able to see some of the work. And it would still be in a draft form, but the commission would be able to, there's one document that Dana's prepared that gives a definition of what should be in the
rules, procedure, or
Rules,
conduct. That's when we are still
business.
looking at them at 2 separate
Yeah.
documents,
the
yeah.
conduct of business, why do you do that? Conduct of
And why,
business,
yeah.
what's in there and what's in the rules and procedures. And then to be able to go from there, once you have an overview of why do you have one versus the other? And then get a look at our draft. It's with all my other input that I put in. Although Chris Lee is also on the committee, he's out today and he's been he's out of town and not able to contribute right this minute, but he will be contributing when we finish it up.
He got us going with at least
Yeah.
putting the documents on a Google Drive that we could all look at, so that was a good start.
Mhm.
well, I know I appreciate the work that the 3 of you've been doing on it, so, 'cause it's been needed, so, yeah. So, I mean, it was a good idea for, Kathy to suggest that we get that.
What I question is, should we do that type of review as an actual planning commission meeting? Or should we have a separate small work session to do it? It's not like we're producing a document that needs to be reviewed other than by us, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, this, as I view it, it's a document you're creating for yourselves.
Right.
And I don't know if you would want to just have a meeting where we have a round table where you can sit down and do it more like the council does their study sessions. And yeah, hash it out.
That might be the better way to do it.
And that'd probably be a good idea.
And I'll leave. Do you think that's okay? We can hand it over to our chairperson to work with Gary to make that happen sometime.
Okay.
Give us some time, a little bit,
Sounds good.
at least
Okay, well-
until early next month.
Okay, yeah, just let us know when you're ready
Yeah.
for it to happen, and then Gary and I'll talk and get it worked out. It's just, we don't want to jump on it before you guys are ready for it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay,
Two other items that I should have brought up during new business if the committee would.
go ahead.
Okay, sorry. One, kind of related because I did use ChatGPT to help me with some of these ideas of rules of procedure. I was wondering, for the comp plan, has staff utilized AI to either incorporate public comments or just reformatting, condensing, making it more concise? Is it worth it?
I'm behind the curve when it comes to Chat GPT.
I'm curious what Drew.
So mine.
And of course, we have a consultant doing all of our formatting and adding the graphics. And
True.
I mean, I don't know what they've done. I haven't asked them. But no,
Are you giving classes?
I am not, although actually, third item, I did attend the short course on planning, yeah, and if anyone is interested, it was just 2.5 hour, it was either 1.5 or 2.5, it didn't seem that long. Zoom call, there's one more in November in the evening at 6 p.m. and there's one more in December, I think 1 to 2, either 2:30 or 3:30. I thought it was really helpful. The one takeaway is if the commission wants to email each other, you just start with, for informational purposes only, do not reply, and then go ahead, sign, distribute as you will, or of course, you could always have staff do it, but if you don't want to overload staff, overburden staff. And then my final point, Circle K, they just, well, there's 2 things related to Circle K. They just,
Program.
well, all the trees are gone, so I guess that's. I'm sure there's tree replacement. But can you really replace
Those trees.
a 100-year-old tree?
No,
So,
you can't.
is there any existing policy to promote preserving really trees?
it depends on the tree.
If it's,
Yeah.
there's these trees.
So oaks, for example, are protected
Oh.
and
Oaks.
throughout the county. I mean, if we can come up with a design that could, function for what it is their intended use and
Yeah.
then have leaf trees, of course, we try to encourage it, but a use like that, yeah, that's gonna have big semis and cars, and it's basically gonna be a paved lot. So, I mean, on the other side of this, I mean, from the environmental planner brain, we allow that development in the city so it doesn't happen in the county.
Yeah, that's
You know.
fair. Cause the big trees were on the property line, it's just, they weren't, I get it, if you have a development, there's a big tree right in the center of your site, okay, I get it, but. I go to the Cherry Meadows Park, and the reason why that park is so nice is because they have these huge
Huge
trees
trees.
providing shade, it's the same type of tree, I don't know, if it's a spruce or what it is. And then lastly, on Circle K, I saw that there was an appeal regarding they wanted 2 monument signs because they're on a corner. And I actually, I didn't think their argument was valid, and I saw that the appeal was denied. They're trying to count the canopy as a structure, and I think, yeah, that the hearing examiner was right and staff was right, that it's not a structure. In terms of planning in this case, but it is, I don't know if it's a collector street and an arterial street. I don't know if I'm getting the terminology right. So I get why they wanted to, and I could see like a modification to the signage code if you're on a corner and you're on busy streets, because obviously the assisted living that's on this behind them, they have a monument sign on that street, so it's just put that out there.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations about that, especially Chris, because he's the one that implements our sign code.
Oh, okay.
And I think we did encourage them to try to at least put one on their canopy, right? Did want to do
They
that.
don't have a signage on the canopy?
It was proposed, good afternoon, it was proposed to them before they appealed. And they didn't want to go with it, so then they appealed, then they decided to go with it.
Okay.
The way they designed their site, they could have allowed a corner monument sign, which would have served both parts of the intersection. They chose not to do it that way. So they got in their own way a little bit, speaking.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the site plans over a period of months, but when I drove in on Monday and saw just how big that lot is.
And the trees are all gone. Yeah.
Today it looks really sad.
It's just anytime really old trees are taken, it's heartrending.
Yes. It's hard to promote growth and development without. I mean, they're mitigation sites and, we have DOT, we have tree replacement guidelines, but like you said, I doubt the city has that same.
We have landscaping guidelines and for the perimeter.
Yeah.
Well, there aren't
Trees and perimeter trees.
are there tree replacement? Okay, that's what I thought. So many, the caliper.
The small ones that die in 5 years.
Well, that's actually a really good segue, if I may, for boards and commissions. For the tree board, we're gonna be meeting this month, and I'm working with the City of Yelm arborist, Kevin McFarland, on updating our street tree list, because trees are ever evolving. We have new parasites, new funguses, new things that are affecting trees. And we have to reflect that. I think alder are the big problem right now, and a lot of our street trees are alder. So we're wanting to update that. So some of the trees that are being removed are problematic. As much as I hate to say it, the hawthorns on Yelm Avenue are very problematic. I mean, the thorny, the release berries, there's a lot of problems with those trees, unfortunately. And it seems like every year someone takes one out. So we haven't been replacing with like for like, because when our guys go out there to trim them, they get cut to ribbons. So we do have Arbor Day coming up, so this month we'll in April, but it takes a lot of planning, for a 1 hour fireworks show, so to speak. Our meeting this month, we'll have Lynn Roy, who's gonna propose some ideas for Arbor Day. I think she wants to expand on the celebration that we do each year a little bit, and working with the schools and seeing what the transportation is gonna look like. So for tree board, we're gonna get very active again. We had July and August off, so now we're gonna get right back into it.
I really commend you to do that as much as possible, and I know, well, John's out there. It makes such a difference.
It does, and we're also gonna be working on our 5-year strategic plan for urban forestry maintenance and renewal. So that's something that will cover 2026 to 2030, 2031. Yeah, so each year, each quarter addresses replacement of trees, education, working with business owners on avoiding topping and how to properly maintain them. So there's a lot of thought and a lot of work that goes into it. And the volunteers that are on that board are amazing, just fantastic.
So when you select trees, do you look at like their root structure and what they do to the environment? I mean, because on Collins Avenue is a great example. You've got all those gorgeous trees running around Collins, but I've just noticed in the last 2 weeks, there's probably a dozen panels that have been, pulled out removed and replaced, and it's just gonna continue to happen as those trees get bigger and develop further, and I mean, I'd say my house is one of the ones that has a tree right in front of it, and it's pushing up my driveway, and so it's one of those, it's an issue, and it's a straight tree that I can't take it out, and if I do, I have to replace it. So are there ideas going on how to mitigate those issues as well, or?
There is, yes. Whole thing is root barrier should have been put in. That would defer the roots downward instead of laterally, so that would have put them 2 feet deeper into the ground. They wouldn't be strangling utility lines, they wouldn't be destroying sidewalks and driveways. The other thing, we do have a street tree permit. It's $125 to remove a street tree and replace it. I've never charged for one because people usually call because the replacement's required, not desired. It's destroying something. So you know what? Let's take down that maple. Let's put in a dogwood. Let's put in a Japanese snowbell. Let's put in a smaller species that bloom fast so we don't notice the missing canopy, but isn't going to get that tremendous and cause that much damage. If they're insistent they want to put another maple in or oak or whatever was there, they're welcome to put in a root barrier. So yeah, all those considerations have been taken into account.
Excellent, thank you.
Can I have one more question?
Yes.
Okay.
fine.
I'm concerned about speaking of trees, the beautiful evergreens that were along the side of the Safeway parking lot. They've all died. I think the last one is in process of dying. Is that a requirement that they're going to come up with something to replace those?
Are we talking more for Jack in the Box or Safeway?
Towards Safeway along the side where the filling station, the gas.
Yeah, so those trees, we're working with Jack in the Box and Safeway on those, because those are required per their land use approval. Those are parking lot trees. They're there for windbreaks, absorb moisture, shade. So once they overtop them or kill them, they're in violation of their land use approval, and they are required to replace them. So that is something we're working with them on.
Something will come back.
Yeah, it just has to be in the planting season, so. We just missed that window, so it's a long process. We went through this with Napa a few years ago when we trimmed all their trees.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, any other comments or?
I apologize that I keep having comments, but there's one that I think might help us. And that is, when we talk about having this open house in November, and we all know that the comp plan is voluminous. There's a lot of detail, a lot of segments to it. And I was thinking that if we're going to be presenting to the public and we're going to be attending to present to the public, could we take assignments of, certain people take certain sections and focus on? Because I know, like Robert, you're very, very aware of all the transportation and can speak very well to that. The only thing I can really speak to is the parks. But I can study a couple of others, but trying to learn all of it in enough depth that I would be able to speak very well to each one. I think that it would be a benefit to us to choose segments to make sure that we've got maybe 2 people per one or something along those lines.
Yeah, I guess it would kind of depend on how it's set up. I mean, as far as.
Yeah, I mean, I've never expected the planning commission to have to present the comp plan, but,
Did in the past, that was just my experience in the past.
yeah. Well, I've never done it that way, but, let me just think about that, Ann, how it would work, or Commissioner, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if we had to have a subject matter experts, they're primarily, as far as the update is concerned, the primary chapters that have the, biggest impact or the biggest changes are the land use, housing, transportation, and climate element. So, you know, being up to speed on those is probably the most important. You're not gonna get questions about utilities. You know, some of the others, but yeah, I mean, I'll just think about your suggestion.
Because we all also, in addition to the open house for the public, the planning commission chooses a method to present to the council for approval. And in that case, the council could ask us any number of questions, and having people that were each commissioner very well versed in particular areas. I think it's worth thinking about.
So that too is different than the way I've done it in the past. So I'll have to think about that as well, because normally, I mean, you're gonna have the hearing, you're gonna have the public hearing to recommend approval to the council. But usually from that point, it gets handed over to staff to present it to council.
Oh, so the plan commission doesn't present to council.
And you basically make recommendation to the council. But I'm not saying that we can't do it that way. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility, and if the, you know, different jurisdictions do things differently, and if the commission is eager to present it to council, I don't see why we can't do it that way. It's just different than the way I've done it in the past. Yeah.
I think it's appropriate for staff to present like as objective as they can be. And then if council, or if we're passionate about why something was changed, we can definitely weigh in. And if council has questions, why was this changed? We can definitely weigh in if we support staff, or they can support us either way, but it is usually a staff presenting kind of the very cut and dry, and then we're the recommenders.
So next month, just to, I don't want to drag things on, but I do, when I come back with the full copy, I will have a presentation to just talk about the highlights of the things that were changed in the chapters, and, you know, whatever recommendations for change that were incorporated. So, and just sort of give a nice refresher overview of the stuff that you guys have worked on.
All right.
Be great.
Two parts, public comment. One, would it be possible to do a flyer with a QR code to that website and maybe put in like the dog park, the community center, city hall?
It's not impossible. I mean, I have to work with our communications department to get some of this done, but why don't you email me your suggestions? Yeah.
And then also public comment, I joined in January. I don't remember the timeline of gathering input for the comp plan, but is all public comment so far, is it somewhere that I could reference?
We've not received comments, and we
Zero.
had an open house on this.
Nothing.
Right.
Zero. Okay.
Yeah. You might recall, you know, it's been a few months, but several months now, but we did do an open house at the community center. I'm hoping, you know, with the Facebook thing, that we will get more. Be careful what you wish for.
Well, I mean, how would comments be received in those workshops? Are they actually written, or, because I do remember the joint city council meeting, there was citizen verbal input, but I guess nothing was actually documented.
Well, at the open house that we had, which was, there were several different city things in the open house. I don't know if you recall that, like Brad had projects, so I had comp plan. It was almost more like a listening booth where people would come around and they would provide their comments in that way. I can't remember if we had any post-it. I think we did. We had some post-it comments. But in the workshop, if you will, I mean, we're gonna be recording. People can get up and give us their comments, or they will be instructed as to how they can provide written comments. So, yeah. And then as far as the website goes and our notice in the Facebook, I mean, I'm going to have my contact information there so that anybody who does have a comment should send them to me, and then I'll be in charge of compiling those.
So they will be recorded on a list and part of the document or something.
If he gets any.
I didn't understand your question.
I was trying to figure out, how do we actually get to see or hear or know of all the comments. And so you're gonna actually
Oh,
document.
yeah, I mean, if I get any written comments, I'll share with the planning commission. This is part of our packet or approval or review. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I imagine there's nobody that's gonna say nay. Meeting's adjourned. It's 4:55.